I'm going to be going to SDG Fest, and this is my first ever event. This week, I got to do two things. We're going to build a building to give away at the event. I'm not exactly sure how they're giving it away, but I'm excited to donate it. And then I would love to be able to trade with some miniatures that I make myself. So there's something over here. I did some molding experiments, and then last week I did some more with that Teen News video everyone loved. And honestly, I really love this casting material. It's a putty, so there's no risk of it leaking, which was really nice. I'm running out of it, but I think I might need to get some more eventually. Something I constantly use is this pig gargoyle. And this is cast in clear resin, which isn't great, so I'm going to get some new stuff. But I use these constantly. I would love to make a set of 5 to hand out at the event or trade with. And one of these is definitely... Now, when I cast this, there are imperfections. Like the ears aren't totally there. But honestly, Mordheim was hit by a meteor. So having imperfections in the cast isn't that big of a deal for me. So I'm going to take this one and then let's make some new gargoyles.
In a second. I'm gonna sketch out some basic ideas for this building. Overall, I couldn't get the sketch correct on the paper, so I just decided to go ahead and do it in 3D. When I'm making up a pattern, I find it easiest to start from the ground up. So we're starting with a foundation level, and I want this to have a lot of different playable areas on different planes. This foundation is gonna have an overhang, and then the building on top of it, I also want to have an overhang and several levels inside the building as well. Before doing all the brickwork, I lay down the texture with a rock, and I put a lot of pressure into this and make sure to round every corner. I do this because when you do the bricks without a texture, it just looks really flat. There's not a lot for the paint to grab onto. It still looks okay, but you can tell when a brick is the same shape. So when you texture it first, it masks all the mistakes that you could make. I wanted to get the silhouette right, so sketching in 3 dimensions again. I have a plaster casting of a door, and so I use that to frame out the size of the doorway. I'm building this with pink XPS foam because I know that I want this whole building to be made from stone. I wanted to try something new with the windows that I haven't really done before, because usually I build only timber houses. I wanted to make arrow slits for some of these windows. So I sketched this out again, just directly onto the material. I cut out this cross shape, and I chiseled out a spot so that a bowman would be able to kind of position and aim within this X. I think this turned out really good, and I'm definitely going to be using this in the future. It really makes this look really fortified, and I wasn't quite expecting it to look like that, but I was really happy that I tried this out. Off camera, I'm going to go ahead and stamp in all these bricks, and we're going to go back to the gargoyles. I got some kit bashing parts, and I used some dollar store animals to mount to some shields and other architectural features I'm going to be sculpting on. And I added more like fur textures and some other things to spruce up some of these textures before I mold and cast them. After that, I wanted to recast one of my spare molds so that I could stick these onto the miniature that we're making right now. After those came off the mold, I had just finished the brickwork on all these walls, and I went ahead and glued them down. For these casts, I was using that river clear resin again. I wasn't a huge fan of it, so I also did one in plaster. By the end of it, this was kind of a good test to see, but you don't have to recast or sculpt or do anything special to get these gargoyles to. I got another cow. This is from a farm animals kit from the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna chop off the head and then just glue it right on. This does a lot to add a lot of detail and just kind of have the buildings kind of look at the characters on the playing field, and it just makes it a little bit more unsettling in my opinion. So I'm really excited to cast this set of 5 gargoyles. I framed out this silicone mold and I poured it in, and the goat was the only one that I really just didn't think through. I've had issues casting it with the horns in. Again, it's a Mordheim statue, so it not having horns isn't the end of the world. For the interior of this building, I'm going to be using popsicle sticks and balsa wood. I made some wooden platforms and glued them in with hot glue for the upper floors, and then for the bottom floor, I just went in with PVA glue and then just kind of wood planked the floor as well. I soaked up the remaining white glue with some sand. I framed out the doorway, and then for the roof, there's nothing faster than getting some plastic packaging. This packaging is from a ream of paper. I like this one because it looks like corrugated metal, and later we'll be painting this in like a brass color, and it always turns out really good in my opinion. And you don't have to lay out shingles, so it's so much faster. You can just lay on like whole huge pieces, and it looks really good. It was finally time to demold this kit, and it came off and just kind of shattered into pieces, which made me nervous about the structural integrity of this kit once casted. But I casted it in resin and it came out all in one piece and was perfect. I made several other copies, and I can't wait to use these on my builds. I have been debating on whether to like sell them or not. If you'd be interested, feel free to join the Discord and DM me, or DM me on Instagram. Obviously, the variety of casting quality is going to be so just keep that in mind. Alright, so now for the painting. I really wanted to do limestone building for a long time. A lot of people paint stone gray, and stone is never gray. It's shades of brown, because earth is a shade of brown. There are some exceptions, but in general, especially limestone, it's a yellowish tan. So I did a base coat of that and instantly thought I'd completely ruined it. But I kind of trusted the process. I did a brown wash over everything after that. And then after that, I went heavy on a green wash just to kind of muddy the waters a little bit more. Then I set it outside to dry, and the summer heat was finally useful for once. And I brought it back inside, and it really looked like a dusty tan, which was exactly what I wanted. So I went in again with a teal, and then over on top of that, and I got all the details like the windows and the gargoyles and like the architectural fence on the top. I mixed just a little bit of yellow with that metallic gold paint, and I dry brushed over everything again. This is kind of my go-to when I do brass. I did go a bit bright on the teal, and I thought I ruined it again, but I do like the color of it. And it's basically done. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. And before this video ends, I'd like to just thank my Patreon members. Thank you to Leroy, Feder, Caracol, Old School FRP, Burning Heart Custom Creations, James Anders Hanover, Grim Drunk, Treborius, Andy Corey, Mike, Nick, The Lich's Laboratory, Cabu, The Pessimist, Seb, Lori, RC3D, Jonathan, Fabio Soroso, Doom Chupacabra, Sinister Grackle, Silver Fistion, C-J, Enchanted Raven, What I Gotta Roll, Be Up One, Paul, Grombert, Frosty Spire, Arcadius Prime, and we got 3 new patrons this week, Nick, Mazzy Cryo, and Gonsalu. Thank you so much for your support. As I kind of roll out this model kit, first priority will go to my Patreon members, but if you're interested, feel free to reach out. I don't quite know how many I'll be able to get out, so there's probably going to be a limited supply. All right, so thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' support, and I hope I get to see you at SDG Fest, and maybe you'll win this build. I hope you have a good one.